Happy December, everyone, and thank you for joining me on the podcast. Where has this year gone? I mean, really, I just can't believe that we are already wrapping up 2023. On one hand, it has felt like everything has happened at warp speed, but on the other hand, the amount of work and expansion that we have gone through this year has felt like many years rolled into one. This has been a incredibly sweeping year in every aspect of our lives. We have laughed, we have loved, we have grieved, we have lost. And I think we're now at the stage where we are cleaning the slate so we can begin anew. This year was the 7-year in numerology, and the focus of this year was on our spiritual fortitude and remembering who we are at our soul level. Why did we come to Earth at this time was a major question for all of us this year. And our path has been filled with hard truths, and we were collecting a lot of breadcrumbs of illuminations along the path that has led us to deepen our understanding of ourselves, of our collective, and really the complete mysteries of the universe. I think I know really nothing. And I think that's the art of mastery, right? Is really just surrendering and understanding that you really don't understand anything. You don't know anything. And that's the mysteries and the beauty of the universe that we are all part of. More than anything, I think this year has been about clearing the pathway, clearing everything. And I mean everything that has been standing in our way of us reaching our own destiny. We have worked on closing karmic cycles that have been following us for lifetimes. We have been revealing unhealthy patterns of conditioning and beliefs that have shaped who we are and how we look at the world, what lens we look at the world through. And we have been repositioning ourselves and repositioning the people in our lives so we can really step into that authenticity, step into our truth, step into our missions. And a lot of that's just requiring us to start from scratch. This year has also required a warrior heart to navigate through the twists and the turns that have been presented to us as we fully step into our divine sovereignty and purpose. And I believe the slate has had to be cleared so we can sit in the rawness and we can be free of the distractions and the clutter that have been in our path and awaken the crystal clear remembrance of our essence. 2023 was also about our relationships and the love that we have for ourselves, and the value that we put on ourselves and the love that we have for ourselves, with the planet of Venus being such a major player this year. And we've had to go through a reevaluation of every relationship in our life. And we've had to look with a critical eye. And it has required us to make some very tough decisions on what and who we're going to allow in our energy fields moving forward. This has been uncomfortable. It's been heartbreaking. But I think through that heartbreak, it has allowed us to realize just how much we can love. And it has also illuminated a path for many of us to realize that we have been giving so much of our energy to others without having that balance of reciprocation coming back. And this has forced us to go inward to finally give ourselves the love that we deserve for ourselves. And it is through the unconditional love of ourselves that we are able to fully love others, free from any attachment, or expectation. And it is through self-love that we demand more from others and how they treat us. I think also for many of you, you have reevaluated your boundaries and have expanded those. And it's been a clarification of what our hell no is. And our hell no is very firm now and strong, because we realize we're no longer going to tolerate the mediocrity to dominate our lives and our world. That's another big thing that we've been looking at, is how does our complacency allow us to not see the bigger picture of what's going on in the world. And I think, and I hope that many of us have come to that realization that we can't just sit on the sidelines, and we have to do the work for ourselves, right? The old patterns, the old conditioning that we have become so comfortable with had to go. It just has to go. And this also has required us to stop at the top of the first mountain of our lives and open the suitcase that we have been dragging along with us to be examined. And we have been combing through everything with a fine-tooth comb, through all of our possessions, our belief systems, our emotional patterning, and really figure out what is valuable enough to drag up that second mountain of life and what needs to be chucked over the side of that mountain. You know, for me personally, I had to take that entire suitcase. I opened it up. I looked at everything. I pulled out just a couple of things from it. And I thanked it profoundly for all the lessons it has taught me and how it has helped me to be embodied, to grow in this embodiment, and to realize that these were the lessons, these were the setups, these were the things that I needed to collect along this first half of my life to fully step into myself and grow. And I thanked it, I blessed it, and then I threw it over the edge of that mountain. And I watched all of the possessions fly out of the suitcase and go to new homes, go to new places, transmute into something else. This time is really about cleaning the slate. It's about tearing up the foundation and rebuilding a new foundation that is free from any of the old materials. And this foundation that we're building is one about love and peace and harmony and freedom. Freedom for yourself. It's about sitting in the void of the unknown to birth a new viewpoint, steeped from the depths of the heart. We are all recalibrating to a new frequency, a frequency that aligns with our oversoul and our higher self's ancient knowledge. It's a collection of all of the experiences and all of the wisdom and information that we have held from any of the incarnations we have ever had, so that we may leverage this wisdom to carry us into a new golden age. Anchoring in this ancient knowledge allows us to step into our divine sovereignty so that we individually and collectively can envision a new world that brings forward these divine teachings to manifest a world that many of us have worked lifetimes to birth anew. This is why you are here. And you know it. You feel it in your bones. You feel it in your soul. You know why you are here at this time. And there's a feeling, there's an energy that you can just feel it, that there's something that we are on the precipice of birthing into reality. And there's almost a giddiness and an excitement. It feels very much like when we were kids waiting for Santa Claus to arrive on Christmas Day, and there was that giddiness, that excitement that was building. And that feels very palatable right now. And it feels as though we are just almost there. We are so close to a new world emerging. And each of us doing our own individual work, our own spiritual regimen or practice that has been required of us to step deeper into this shift. Each of you doing this is helping to make that a reality. And it requires spiritual discipline and rigor to make it happen. I know you have also probably felt that there have been many people who have come into your life completely by design, completely by choosing to knock you off your path over the years. Especially this year. This year feels like monumental, at least it is for me, of having a lot of people come in and try and doubt myself, to try and knock me off this mission that I have known. It has been so crystal clear that there is a strong reason and purpose and fortitude that has been carrying me forward for years, my whole life. And every time that you would get knocked down, you would stand right back up, stronger, more determined, and with a deeper focus on fulfilling your destiny. You know in your heart and in your bones what you need to do. And it has taken a lot of lessons over and over and over again that have been put on your path to build that fortitude to make it happen. I am no longer moved by anything but the unwavering trust of my inner knowing. The blueprint of my destiny is embedded in my crystalline DNA. It is activated, initiating, and illuminating the path forward. And it is the same for you. Your crystalline DNA is activating, and it is illuminating your path forward. And nobody should be able to shame you for living in your truth, even if it differs from them. I think it's important for all of us to make a commitment to ourselves to make no apologies for stepping into your destiny. Because, you are the one who's able to see it. And if somebody else can't see it, it's none of their business because it's not theirs to see. But if you can clearly see it and you know it, your soul knows it, you are exactly where you are supposed to be and doing exactly what you know you need to do. Keep going, keep believing, keep inspiring. The time is now. And as we are on the precipice of some transformative event or situation happening, I can tell you that for months now, I have been receiving massive visions. These visions have been of this transformation that it is occurring for us. And I know I'm not the only one who has been experiencing these visions. Many of you have been feeling this emergence coming forward. And of course, we all have our own versions of this. There's varying theories on all of this, right? Some believe that the fifth dimensional consciousness is coming into our current time and space where we are currently living. Others have felt like a major event was coming that would transport us to a new earth. Some call that blessed Gaia. It would be a new location that's free from all of the systems and the constructs that are currently existing in our world. It really doesn't matter what the vision is, because our reality of our world starts within us. And it starts within wanting to create a vision for ourselves, first and foremost. You create the reality that is beyond the construct of what has currently been created. But whatever is coming, it is palatable, and you can feel that there is a shift happening. We've been in a cocooning process, each of us, for some time. And this has really allowed us to become quiet and to have the space that really has been needed in order for us to unlock ourselves from these systems and structures that we've put on ourselves. And there is a peace and a tranquility that has emerged through this process, and really a sense of freedom, a new sense of freedom. And as we enter the winter solstice in a few weeks, and the hibernation period, that for those of you in the Northern Hemisphere, the winter months provides that hibernation period. It allows us to seek the quiet, to comfort our inner landscape, and to be in a place of stillness so we can navigate the energetic shifts that are really bombarding our planet right now. And we are continuing to receive an unprecedented amount of energy. Solar flares from the sun seem to be amplifying and making their way to Earth. This is combining with natural events that seem to be increasing, volcanic activity, as well as I've been shown a lot of water activity is going to be imminent coming in. And so our energetic systems are being bombarded and are needing to be adjusted and accommodating these shifts that are happening. And our physical bodies are changing. Our light bodies and our dormant DNA has been activating. As I talked about in a podcast a few episodes ago, even the traditional chakra system that we have come to know, the 7 main chakras, are no longer being seen in many people. And I've experienced this firsthand with my clients, my animals, and my close family members. We are changing. And it's in a dramatic way we're changing. And as we move further into December and welcome in Capricorn season, we are all going to be focusing on our higher purpose. How do we step in to our Dharma? How do we become so connected to our oversoul, to our higher self, to lay a new foundation that pulls in all of the ancient knowledge and wisdom that resides within you? Really think of this as a clean slate. We're starting over. And the astrology for the next several years has an even greater focus on the spiritual and creative path. How can you be living from your creative embodiment of your spirit? How can you express yourself at the deepest levels by ensuring that it's coming from your higher self? I was watching a beautiful documentary last night on Netflix about John Baptiste, who is an amazing musician. If you don't know who he is, he was the band leader for The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. And his wife is a writer and a musician and an artist, really spectacularly creative couple here. And I loved this documentary because it was their story of the most challenging and expansive time of their lives. On one hand, she was battling her second round of leukemia and fighting for her life, and couldn't really write during that time because her vision was being affected by it. So she had to turn to other creative outlets to do this. And he was having an expansive year of his career with Grammy award-winning album and running a symphony to be played at Carnegie Hall. And what I was so struck about by watching them is how they embodied the human spirit experience as spiritual beings, how they embodied the lessons of balancing the pain and the suffering and the, just crippling anxiety and panic attacks that he was also going through, and the joy and expansion all at the same time. The roller coaster of our lives. That's why we're here. We are here to be that embodiment of our spirit, unapologetically. It's messy, it's hard. But when you see somebody and you witness somebody who is going through that, but at the same time, they're so embodied in their creative elements, and you could see that it was pouring in from spirit, that they were living in their divine purpose to be embodied in this lifetime. That was inspiring. And he said that his music is a spiritual practice. That's his spiritual practice for him, is playing music. And I think we're all looking at how do we deepen our spiritual path? How can we create a spiritual practice that leads us every day, that is part of our daily routine? It's not an option. It's a priority. It's our job to embody our spirit. That is why we're here. And whether that's through painting, or that's through writing music, or that's through recording a podcast, whatever it is that lights you up, that is your creative outlet, whatever that looks like, crunching numbers, doing spreadsheets, whatever it is. I think this is the whole focus of what we're being asked to do. So as we look at the December astrology and you set your sights on 2024, we're being asked to set a focus for how we lead with our spirit and embody that in whatever reality we are living in. 2024 will be an 8 year. 8 is about finding balance between the material and the spiritual worlds. And if you flip it on its side, it's also the infinity symbol. This means that everything is infinite. In one aspect, it's about having authority over yourself, understanding your role, mastering yourself. And on the flip side, it's about the whole. How can we create a world of love and peace and harmony? It's going to be an amazing trip and experience, no matter where we're at, what dimension we're in, where we're living, all of those things, right? It is really going to be a turning point. And right now, we are re-envisioning what that looks like for ourselves. And again, laying a new foundation to get us on the path of where we want to go. So let's turn our attention to the astrology for December and talk about what's coming up and some of the key dates of where we're going to expect some shifts to happen so you can prepare. So Mercury moved into Capricorn on December the 1st. This is a really beautifully grounded, logical placement for Mercury. This is where we really use communications to really think through patiently and logically about what we want to do. It's about making plans for the long term. There can be a bit of stubbornness, and there is the inability to move really quickly with Capricorn or efficiently, but it's very precise energy. It wants to really think things through and what's going to be good for the long term. We are slowing down our thinking and communication. So this is actually a good thing because we've been in such a fast moving state this year. We are in the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, though. That's beginning on December 13th, which is going to bring even a furthering of a slowdown. So that's going to assist us in taking the time to set those long-term goals in our life. On December 4th, Venus is going to move into Scorpio. Now, Venus has been a major player of all of 2023. Again, we have been working on our relationships, removing relationships that no longer align or in a frequency, the same frequency or the same vibration that we're at. And we have been then reevaluating all the other relationships that we have decided to keep in our lives. This placement is going to bring another round of deep examination of our relationships until December 29th. So, as we are setting our long-term goals, we are also focusing on the type of relationships we want in our lives and furthering a release of any additional relationships that need to be moved out of your life. It's also about setting very clear intentions about the types of relationships you want to call into your life as you move into this new life. Venus is about our own value system. So, how do we want to love ourselves? How do we want to value ourselves? How do we want others to love and value us? That's going to be a deep dive as it moves into Scorpio that likes to go deep and look at everything under the surface. On December the 6th, Neptune is going to be stationing direct after going retrograde on June 30th in the sign of Pisces. Oh, this retrograde. Oh my. This was another doozy. We had 7 planets in retrograde this year for the majority of the summer all at the same time. So as you know, it brought a lot of chaos, a lot of changes. This one brought a lot of confusion because Neptune's a little bit cloudy. It doesn't have a crystal clear vision. It rules the spiritual world. So there was a lot of deep introspection going on about ourselves and really our place in the whole universe. Where do we fit? And it was a deepening of our connection to our spiritual path. This one's been deeply transformational. And within Pisces, we have really been focusing on the unconscious patterns, the unconscious thoughts, the things that have been hidden in the closet and not really wanted to be brought to the surface. And also some things that we haven't necessarily been able to see in the physical plane. It has also brought a lot of fog and confusion, and it will hopefully, as it stations direct, it's going to lift a bit of that fog that has been around us for some time, where we've not really been able to see things super clear and illuminate some truths of some things that have still been a little fuzzy. So this is going to impact mostly, it'll impact everybody, but really the mutable signs are going to feel the most effect of this. That'll be Gemini, Virgo, Sag, and Pisces. If you have your 3 rising, your sun or your moon in those signs, that will be a big hit for you. December 12th, we have a new moon in Sagittarius. This is a very important day to set intentions and what you want to bring in. So Sagittarius is all about the big picture. It really has no limitations. It's all about expansion. It's all about abundance. And this new moon is asking us to shoot for the stars. Literally, dream up anything that you want to bring in and set the intention for it. And we are being asked to think outside of the traditional structures of what we know and what we're familiar with. It's no more about the third dimension reality. This is about bringing in things that go beyond the third dimension. Big ideas. It's important to look at where Sagittarius sits in your chart, what house it sits in, because that will help illuminate the area of your life where you're wanting and needing to set goals to bring about a change. So for instance, mine's in the 8th house, and I've got both my North Node and Neptune sitting there. So this is deeply focused on digging even further into my spiritual path. And it's a merging of relationship with spirit and others who share the like-mindedness of that. So look where it's at, placed in the houses, and that will give you an idea on themes of where to focus your attention. On December 13th, Mercury is stationing retrograde in Capricorn until January the 1st. Again, so slow down, and we're going to be focusing on our communications. Need to be very precise before you respond to people, have things very well thought out, take your time, don't respond immediately, and again, set long-term goals. On December 21st, the sun then moves into the Capricorn mansion and we enter the winter solstice. So these are very important days on the planet when we have the solstices. We are rebalancing the energies. And we are also then fully entering that time where we are really, really focused on what we want to put in place. And we are taking the hibernation time to sit with ourselves and to make those plans. So this is a perfect time to go inward. Right after Christmas on December 26th, we have our full moon in Cancer. This one's going to be interesting focus. Cancer can be overly emotional. It can be overgiving. It can be on the lower octave, very passive aggressive. It's also a refocusing on our home life. Cancer rules the 4th house, which is all about our home, our inner landscape, the things that we hide, the things that we don't normally show other people. Are there things and tendencies that we have that we need to release? Are there have we not been self-nurturing ourselves? Have we not been taking care of ourselves? What are things that are preventing us from doing that? So these are things that we've been working on all year. And this is kind of the final push of the year, the calendar year, not the astrology year, but the calendar year, to really release anything that's standing in your way of really taking care of you. On December 29th, Venus enters Sagittarius. This will be spicy. So the love that you give yourself, the love you give your others could be very fiery and very much expansive. So that should be fun to see how much we can expand with that. And then on December the 30th, Jupiter is stationing direct. It is going to offer us some hope and expansion to bring us into the calendar year of 2024. It has been in retrograde since September 4th in the sign of Taurus, where we have, again, been asked to go inward. And again, we're focusing on personal value system in Taurus, our self-worth, and our spiritual expansion. So again, with any retrograde, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter retrogrades, when these planets go direct, you feel that shift when it starts to go direct, but there's always a shadow period leading up to it and then after it. So know that can be going on for weeks and even months, so that you're not completely free and clear for a little while. Overall, this month is really a turning point. It is an ability to have a fresh slate, to make some expansive changes for yourself and the collective, so we can move into a new way of living that expands far beyond what we have been accustomed to. So enjoy it. Thank you for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, please rate, review, leave a message, or share with others who may find it helpful. You can engage with me on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Stina Life. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you next time.